Can you see me? Like, do you see me in this role? Like, I know you see these arms as legs, the salt and pepper hair, but with these big bedroom eyes, like, can't you see me as the love interest? Some of them, but I mean, like, I just don't think they see me as the love interest. I don't think you see me as the love interest. I mean, that's what I hired you for. I appreciate the work. I know, really interesting roles. Caring friend, concerned coworker, frustrated artist. I mean, those are rich roles, really, and I'm appreciative of the work, but the money and the notoriety is being the love interest. I want to be the love interest. Now, of course I see you, Julie. I see all the potential yous, right? What's inside does not necessarily reflect how you're going to be cast, right? When I look at people, I see them in roles, don't you? I mean, maybe it's just me because I'm a casting agent, but look, like this one right here, successful attorney with a drinking problem. That one over there, retired nurse, 3 children, struggling. And that one right there, short order cook, really great voice, but hasn't fully expressed herself as an artist. Now, these things may not be true for them. It may not be their reality, but that's how they're seen. And you have a look. You do. You're visible. I know, but I just don't think they see my heart. I don't think you see my heart. Now, I know what you're thinking. Of course, you can't see it because it's in here. But what I mean is that my heart extends beyond the confines of this body. And if you could actually see how big it is, you'd be amazed. You'd be overwhelmed. You'd be frightened. Like me. I mean, my heart is filling up this entire space, and it's running all over your bodies. It's in every molecule in the air. You're actually breathing my heart right now. And I'm capable of falling in love with each and every one of you. I'm capable of being your love interest. Now, that may be. But I don't know about your look. I mean, what do you see here? Any ideas? When you look at this, what do you see? 48-year-old woman, pretty much, right? Well, she's not exactly white. I don't know that we could call her white. Her father's Peruvian, sounds kind of exotic. She's somewhat fit, but a little pudge right there, I don't know. Maybe it's a gluten thing, maybe it's maybe a little more exercise. Look, Julie, you have a look, okay? And for some audiences, it's androgynous, and in some crowds, that could read as lesbian, which isn't bad. I mean, that's practically mainstream these days. But it's not necessarily everyone's first hit with you, which I think is great, because we want to keep our options broad. That's where the money is. Keep the options broad. When I was 11, my mother drove us way up to Canada to sit at the edge of a frigid lake. You couldn't even swim in it, with a rocky shore. Anyways, I decided I was going to test the powers of my intuition. I was going to intuit the name of my future husband. I think I could actually see him. Yes. I could see him. Sandy brown hair, thick bangs, just over big, round, soft, and kind eyes, kind of like Bobby Brady. Flannel shirt, corduroy pants, brown saddle shoes, kind of scuffed on the toe from doing that a lot. I could actually see him. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Now, I bet if I tried a little bit harder, kind of like Bewitched or something, I could actually get his name. Yes, a name. Jack. His name is Jack. Jack Horner. Oh my God, out of thin air. I intuited the name of the man that would love me, my future husband, Jack Horner. It was probably a couple years later I realized why that name sounded so familiar. You know that name? Jack Horner, little Jack Horner, Jack Horner. Anyways, a couple years later was puberty, the end of a certain kind of freedom. I knew my "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret" moment was coming. I mean, it was inevitable. And I was prepared for the bleeding and all of that inconvenience. That wasn't the problem. The real problem, and I don't know, maybe it was a bad after school special on TV that really instilled the fear of pregnancy in me. But that was the thing to really be worried about. Serious, I wanted to be a boy because they didn't have to worry about that. Boys were the problem, so why not join them? It wasn't that I didn't want to be a boy because I wanted more maleness. I wanted to be a boy because I wanted less femaleness. And in particular, I didn't want to be susceptible to becoming infected with a fetus. So my strategy was avoid pregnancy at all costs. Well, now that's an interesting angle. It might be a little difficult to get buy-in, but I do think it could be a differentiator for us in the market. Because what I hear you saying is not so much that you're promoting a kid-free lifestyle as an environmental choice, or even that you hate kids. Those might be true. But what I really hear, which is interesting, is that you're just afraid of pregnancy. Getting pregnant is the worst possible outcome. It really is for a girl. I mean, it's downhill from there. I used to have nightmares. These dreams that I would wake up suddenly or become aware of kind of at school that I was pregnant, like visibly pregnant, like beyond being able to do anything about it, pregnant. And it was horrible. I mean, it seems worse than death. I mean, we're all going to die, but we all don't necessarily have to get pregnant. And with the pregnancy, it's a ticking time bomb. It's this long tunnel, and there's only one way to go towards the dark, uncertain future. My life as I know it will be obliterated. Oh, come on now. What about giving birth? That's painful. That seems scary. Or what about after that? There's no option other than to give birth. In my dream, there's no option other than to give birth. And, you know, I'm sure that if somehow I ended up with a kid, that I would love it and I would be devoted to it. I think I'd be a fabulous mom. But I don't want that kind of choiceless love, that obedient love, unconditional love. I don't want to have to love somebody. So, are you suggesting, is she suggesting that fear of pregnancy might be why you've never slept with men? I mean, that's kind of a stretch, right? After all, there's birth control. I mean, millions of women have sex with men all the time and never get pregnant. So it's doable. I mean, what I think is curious here is, now, she might not tell you this herself, but I'll let you know. She's never slept with a man, and yet every single one of her sexual fantasies are about men. What? Like WTF? Are all lesbians like that? I'm not really sure, but it's not really our concern so much. I mean, after all, as I said, what about birth control? I bought a diaphragm when I was a freshman in college, just to be prepared. I went to Kaiser, and I came back from the pharmacy, and it was in a little sealed box in a little brown paper bag. And I came home, and I stuck it in the back of my underwear drawer. 6 years later. I took it out, and I threw it away. I hadn't even slept with women yet. Kind of a late bloomer. But you know, I don't think it's really accurate to say that all of my sexual fantasies are about men. Because, you know, I mean, I didn't sleep with anyone for 12 years from like 31 to 43, but I fell in love with lots of women. No men, all women. And I had fantasies about being intimate with them. I mean, they weren't really like, I didn't really think about fucking them. You see, I have fucking fantasies about men. What does that make me? Well, that's easy. You're layered, you're complex, you're mysterious. I mean, I could market you as both a gold star lesbian and, to some people, a bona fide virgin. That's a niche market. But I think all of that is beside the point, Julie, because frankly, at this age, you're kind of well past the point of being considered for roles that are primarily focused on sex, right? And I think our options are much broader, and to your point, if you want to be the love interest, we really ought to focus on that big old heart of yours. That's where the money is. I think you're thinking too small. The big dollars are with that heart. (1965). Mother of 3 children, ages 7, 8, and 9. Recently divorced. My mother. Well, she's not my mother yet, but she's going to be my mother. She's pegged to be my mother. And she finds herself faced with having to raise 3 children in a world that's not quite ready to embrace single mothers. And you know what happens next? She finds herself pregnant. Pregnant. The worst possible outcome. She went to a backyard barbecue that her mother-in-law, or rather her ex-mother-in-law, really encouraged her to go to because my mother seemed so unhappy, and she really wanted her to have some fun. So there, on a hot August afternoon, in a backyard in Santa Monica, California, my mother chooses to let go of her fear for a moment of fun and a dance with a charming Latin man who moves his hips to the rhythm of the radio, and so begins a brief chemistry experiment that results in me. I am to be born. This is good news, and it had to be the worst possible outcome for my mother at that time. Her own mother thought it was a terrible mistake. What was she thinking? She was going to raise this illegitimate brown child when she already had 3 children and no conceivable income on the horizon? What was she thinking? My grandmother had a great idea: get an abortion. Well, it's 1965, making that an illegal suggestion, but my mother's mother knew a good idea and how to execute it. Now, here I am. That window on pregnancy, starting to close. Right around the corner, menopause. What's gonna happen then? Kind of curious, huh? Well, I would say that this is the perfect time for you to consider this new role that just came across my desk this morning. And when I read this script, I thought, Julie, it has you written all over it. Now, I want you to listen to it with an open mind, and especially an open heart, even though I know you can't help it, right? Good. So, now, this role is not for everyone. It has been done, and it has been done very well by others. Frankly, Jesus, Buddha, and the Mother Teresa have essentially built their careers on this role. But the market is ready for a fresh face, a new modern twist. This face, right here, ready for the role of unconditional love. Wait, right here in the script, it says that it starts with you being none other than the love interest of you. How perfect is that? Right? We don't have to worry about those preferences and stuff. It's implied you prefer you. when you can't find anyone else to love you, then you're forced to love yourself. Just because that's what I've done. I mean, I've tried. But frankly, you're right. At 48, the idea of being cast as a love interest is something I should probably let go of. But just because I've been forced to cultivate some kind of self-love doesn't mean that I'm right for this role. In fact, you said yourself, what's happening in here doesn't necessarily mean that that's how I should be cast. Do I look like someone that loves themselves? Truly. You're perfect for this role. You are. You've been preparing your entire career, no, your entire life for this role. I mean, thank God you never had children or found a soulmate, because you would have run down that path and never had the opportunity to cultivate that self-love that not everyone gets that opportunity to, right? So you take that, combined with your talent and charisma, and we put that on the big screen, and I say phenomena, blockbuster, off the charts. And the other thing is, that big heart of yours. Some people say it's been broken so many times it's just stuck open. It's great. It has wrapped itself around even you. You don't even have to look for love anymore. You are residing in it. How cool is that? It's choiceless, right? This is not a role, baby. It's a revelation.